Have you ever wondered how Bash scripting can simplify your tasks? Welcome to the fascinating world of Bash scripting, where automation and task management take center stage. Bash scripting, a powerful tool used in Unix shell, is a game changer for those who love efficiency. What makes Bash scripting so valuable? It's all in the execution. With Bash scripting, you can run commands directly in the Unix shell. This means you can automate tasks, save time, and reduce the chances of errors. Imagine you have a task that you perform over and over again. Wouldn't it be fantastic if you could write a script once and then let the computer handle it from there? That's where Bash scripting shines. The benefits of learning Bash scripting extend beyond just task automation. It's about enhancing your productivity, improving your efficiency, and expanding your skills in the world of programming. If you're looking to boost your productivity and efficiency, Bash scripting is a skill you'll want to have in your toolkit. Before diving into Bash scripting, you need to set up your environment correctly. Now, if you're not familiar with what I mean by environment, think of it as the habitat for your code. It's the world where your scripts live and breathe. We've got to make sure you're running a Unix-like operating system such as Linux or macOS, because Bash scripting is native to these platforms. Don't worry, if you're on Windows, you can use tools like WSL, Cygwin, or Git Bash to get the job done. Now, to confirm that we're ready to go, we take a trip to the terminal. This is your command center, the place where you'll be writing and running your scripts. To check if Bash is available on your system, type echo $bash_version into the terminal. If it returns with a number, congratulations, you're all set. Now that you have your environment ready, it's time to create your first script. Creating a Bash script is as simple as writing a list of commands. So let's dive right into it. To create a Bash script, we'll start by creating a new file. This file should have a .dech extension to indicate it's a Bash script. You can use any text editor you're comfortable with, like Nano, Emacs, or even Vim. Let's say we name our file firstscript.ih. Now, here's an essential part of every Bash script, the shebang. The shebang is simply a line at the start of your script that tells the system how to execute the file. For a Bash script, this will be #bin/bash. Don't forget the sharp and exclamation mark at the beginning. It's not a shouting match against Bash, but rather, it's a crucial signpost for the system. With the shebang in place, we're ready to write some commands. Let's start with something simple. How about a command that prints out "Hello World"? In Bash, we can do this with the echo command. So we write echo hello world. Remember, each command in your script should be on a new line. So if we want to print out hello world and then goodbye world, we'd write echo hello world on one line and echo goodbye world on the next. Once you've written your commands, it's time to save and close the file. If you're using Nano, you can do this by pressing Ctrl+X, then Y to confirm you want to save changes, and then Enter to confirm the file name. And just like that, you've created your first Bash script. It's a simple one, sure, but it's a start. And as you learn more about Bash scripting, you can start adding more complex commands and even control structures. Congratulations! You've just created your first Bash script, but how do we run it? Let's find out in the next scene. Running a Bash script is just as easy as creating one. Now, let's dive into the process. Once you've written your script, you need to make it executable. This is where the chmod command comes into play. The +xe attribute grants the necessary permissions to the script. Simply type chmod +x, followed by your script's name into your terminal. Now your script is ready to run. To execute it, type da, followed by the name of your script and its ih extension that indicates that the script is in the current directory. Hit enter and watch your script spring into action. Remember, the beauty of Bash scripting is its versatility. It can be as simple or as complex as you need it to be. But running it, that's always a breeze. You've just run your first Bash script, but what if we want to add some complexity to it? Stay tuned to find out. Variables and control structures are what make Bash scripting truly powerful. Dive into the heart of Bash scripting with variables. Think of variables as containers that hold information. To declare a variable, just give it a name and assign it a value. For instance, you can say, now, whenever you reference in your script, Bash will substitute it with hello world. To use the value of a variable in a command, prefix the variable name with a $sign, like, now let's talk control structures. These are the decision makers in your script, directing the flow of execution based on certain conditions. The simplest control structure is the statement. It allows your script to perform different actions based on whether a certain condition is true or false. For example, if you want your script to print "Good morning," if the current hour is before noon, you could write a statement that checks the time and decides what to print. Next, we have loops, which are all about repetition. A loop repeats a block of code a specified number of times. For example, to print the numbers 1 to 5, you could use a loop that runs 5 times, each time printing the current iteration number. On the other hand, a loop repeats a block of code as long as a certain condition is true. For instance, you could use a loop to keep asking for user input until the user enters "quit." Remember, the power of Bash scripting comes from combining these elements in creative ways. With variables, you can store and manipulate data. With control structures, you can make decisions and control repetition. Combine them, and you're on your way to creating scripts that can automate tasks, process data, and even interact with users. With variables and control structures, you can create scripts that handle complex tasks efficiently. Even the best programmers make mistakes, but debugging helps us find and fix them. Now, isn't that a comforting thought? No one is expecting perfection. But when things do go awry, as they inevitably will, it's good to have a safety net. That's where debugging comes in. Let's start with a nifty little trick using the X option. When you use this option with your Bash script, it prints each command that is going to be executed before it's actually executed. This allows you to follow the script in real time and pinpoint exactly where things start to go haywire. It's like having a roadmap to your code, a step-by-step guide to your script's execution. Now, on to best practices. These are the habits that will make your life as a programmer easier. First off, commenting your code. This might seem tedious, especially when you're in the thick of it and the code is flowing like a mighty river. But trust me, when you come back to that script 6 months down the line, you'll thank your past self for those helpful annotations. Next up, always check for errors. It's easy to assume that once a piece of code works, it will always work. But that's not always the case. Code can fail for a multitude of reasons, and it's your job to anticipate as many of these as you can. Be proactive, use error checks, and handle exceptions gracefully. Lastly, keep your scripts modular. Break your code down into smaller, reusable pieces. Not only does this make your scripts easier to understand and debug, it also promotes code reuse. Why reinvent the wheel every time when you can just use a module you've already perfected? Remember, Bash scripting is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. So don't be discouraged if things don't go right the first time or even the 10th time. Keep at it, and before you know it, you'll be writing Bash scripts like a pro. Bash scripting is a powerful tool that can make your life easier. We've navigated through its vast landscape, touching upon its many facets. We started off by understanding what Bash scripting is and its undeniable benefits. It's not just about automating tasks, but also about improving efficiency and productivity. We then delved into setting up the right environment, a crucial foundation before moving on to creating our very first Bash script. We learned how to run these scripts, turning lines of code into actions. Then came the heart of scripting: variables and control structures. These are the building blocks that give our scripts form and function. And let's not forget the importance of debugging. It's a vital skill that helps us troubleshoot and refine our scripts, bringing us closer to perfection. With Bash scripting in your toolkit, you're well on your way to becoming a more efficient and productive programmer. Keep practicing and happy scripting.